Richard Sherman, the cornerback from the Seattle Seahawks, who basically comes out and says that if the NBA players want to get paid, NFL players want to get paid like the NBA players, they're going to have to go on strike.
Yeah, so I would say this about Richard Sherman. Richard Sherman, who's become a very wealthy man, made a lot of money based on his ability and talent. You don't take it away from him. Now, comparing the NFL to the NBA might be the dumbest thing I'll hear all day today, and I'm sure we're just getting started on here. A lot of dumb things.
Yes, okay.
I would say this about what Richard Sherman said. As soon as Richard Sherman is willing to go out on strike and not get paid a penny this year and be a man of his convictions and sit on the sideline on strike, almost like a hunger strike, to get better working opportunities financially, then I'll buy that. But you and I both know that Richard Sherman and not a single quarterback or anyone else making over $10 million is going to have the stones to say, you know what, I'm in, we ain't playing.
And why is that?
Because they're selfish.
Well, you know,
and it's a lot of money.
I lived through it. I keep telling you, in 1987, I was the highest paid player in the league, just signed a new contract for $1.2 million a year.
Right.
And I actually had to lend money to guys on my team to keep this thing going from the Cincinnati Bengals standpoint. We had guys in our team cross the line. Lawrence Taylor crossed the line. Joe Montana crossed the line.
Right.
It's almost virtually impossible to get 1,500 players who are a revolving, going through a revolving door. One year they're a part of the NFLPA, the next year they're out because of either, attrition through getting cut or, retiring or whatever. And there's just no firm ground for those.
Plus, one guy might have financial problems, and in his mind, you know what? I better show up so I can pay the mortgage next week.
That's exactly right. Now, the interesting thing is that all of a sudden now, and this is one thing that LeBron James pointed out when Steph Curry signed his deal with the Golden State Warriors. He says he's underpaid. He should be paid more than $40 million a year, and the reason for that is because he basically is, along with Klay Thompson and Draymond Green and now Kevin Durant, have given the owners of the Golden State Warriors one of the richest franchises in the NBA. In other words, the worth of the franchise has grown exponentially.
That's fair.
Over the last 5 years, to include now the Dallas Cowboys, who are worth over $4 billion.
But I always view it this way. If you bought the team, you should be able to make money too.
Well, sure, but they're saying that they're also making money on paper. In other words, the worth of the team has grown. So when you see Jeffrey Luria buy the Miami Dolphins for a little bit over $150 million.
Marlins, right.
Marlins. God, Jesus.
Sorry.
The Marlins over $150 million. And then turn around and sell the team or try to sell the team for $1.3 billion.
Right.
That's the argument that the players
But there's
will
no
make.
argument there. It's silly. You are an employee. You get paid a lot of money to do the job that you're hired to do.
Right.
And the owner of the company should always make more money because he owns the company. Like the notion that professional athletes are not being justly and rightly compensated for what they do is a joke.
Right.
Now, you can make the argument that maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago, even with all the money that they weren't. But the bottom line is this. It's so simple. If I own the team, you work for me.
That's right.
I'm going to make more money than you.
Well, that's true, too. And
you can't bitch about that because you're the employee. Put a group of guys together and go buy a team. I'll never forget when Glenn Big Dog Robinson was negotiating his big contract
I
with
remember.
the Milwaukee Bucks. And the owner of the Bucks said, I'll tell you what, I'll flip-flop with you. I'll give you the franchise. You give me the contract you're asking for because I'll make you out better. Now, that was 20 years ago.
At that point in time, he would. But if he would have held and sat on his investment, then his investment would have grown to the levels that the NBA team's worth now is.
Pro athletes shouldn't say boo about their compensation at this level.
No, I don't.
They shouldn't. Why does a pro athlete think that they have the right to make more money than the owner? I don't understand that.
They're not saying that. What they're saying is that, when you break up the amount of money that is being paid to the athletes, which is 51% of the revenue in the NBA, I believe, and I think it's like 51 or 52, whatever it is in the NFL. Those contracts have got to continue to grow because the CBA, you can't have a professional sports franchise own that franchise without agreeing to the CBA.
Right.
Now, in these capped leagues, there is a minimum amount required to spend, and there's a maximum amount that you can spend. Now, speaking of Richard Sherman, and looking at him specifically, he signed a 4-year, $56 million extension.
Oh, woe is me.
Right.
It's not fair. It's not equitable.
I understand.
You're one guy out of 53 on a team.
But my point is that Richard Sherman is not sitting out a year.
No, right.
And not collecting his, like this year, let's say he wanted to say, okay, we all need to go out on strike. He would be giving up $11.5 million.
He's not going anywhere. He's going to play football. The next time there's going to be a strike is going to be in the NBA in whatever it is, 2-3 years when the ESPN contract.
It's going to be a lockout.
Right, because they're going to lower the cap. Everyone's going to have to start taking pay cuts. That's going to be the new reality of sports when TV contracts change because everything's going digital anyway.